No kids, no husband, just me and ice cream. Wonderful. I know. Good day. Well, we drove up from camp and we stopped at Dairy Queen and I did not get a treat because I was being so good. And then they all had their ice cream and like, everybody ordered ice cream but me. And I just watched them eat their ice cream and Travis like, you can have some of mine. I'm like, okay. I'm okay. And then I'm going to Menchie's. I don't know.
Hey, you're all live and
We'll just see what they are.
All right, let's call order this regular meeting of the city council. It's Tuesday, July 2024.
Kinder.
Welcome, everybody. Start with pledge of allegiance, if they pray and instruction 5. Let's be councilman, this is the months. Thanks, Dave. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we are grateful this evening for the opportunity we have to be here, grateful for the weather and for the great city that we live in. Especially grateful for the efforts of our city and staff and public works, police department, all of the things that they do about the city. Grateful for the volunteers and the city council. Parts of the city. Mindful of the mayor and his family, and pray God bless them in this time. For the team and trial. Pray about you. We pray that we'll have a meeting tonight. Pray that we will continue to like to see. These declaration of confidence. Saying we want to see public comments, mayor council, anyone in the public wish to address the mayor council. See them. 7 minutes of May 28th, 2024, June 11th, 2024, and June 18th, 2024, and June 25th.
I'll make a motion to include the consent item A and B.
Second motion.
Motion by Gibson, second by Gary. Any opposed? Still joining by.
He is on.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
We can't see him.
All right, item 3 is a budget workshop. We should have done that last. And we could do that tomorrow. Yes, it's about the workshop. We don't have to. That's what
Or
I
workshop.
figured. That's what I figured. And then probably. The items. That's okay, that's the end, okay, item 4 is line use items. Consideration of final acceptance of the Heart Point Patch Phase 3 subdivision.
Yeah. So before you this evening, is a consideration to ultimately final accept the public improvements for the Hartful Patch Phase 3. One of the notes from our engineer on this item is a request to make this condition upon verification that the detention pond is complete according to the plan. So there's a detention pond that's shared between Phase 2 and Phase 3. And so it's just a verification to make sure that that detention pond meets the capacity for both of those phases. But other than that, staff recommends final acceptance based on the inspection of the improvements.
So that they final until that's done.
Not necessarily, it's just something, the condition would be that the detention pond meets the plan. And so,
Overlay, it did not.
So
It
we'll
is not-
expect it.
It has inspected.
Yeah.
Or it's not. Okay, I'm okay.
and Tyson may have more insights on that. I don't,
The sizing capacity hasn't been submitted. It's normally get a submittal, but because they switched developers in the different phases. But the pond is still part of phase 3 to the plot. So the capacity is never verified, submitted, the size to cover all 3 phases. But it's the pond that happened in flood, but it's for the entire phase. All. So that's what
I think it should be filed up to find out to this approval too. Because that approval. I'm not going to approve it.
But yeah, and that was sort of it's not your normal scenario where you split developers through the same phase. And so this was the solution that where they weren't generally part of the phase 1, but pond's creation, but the phase they needed still part of the sites. Maybe that's the only way we figured out to ensure that the capacity meets their phase and the
So, I mean, you should have a very good idea of what, well, I apologize if I've seen the bond, but you feel that it's gonna be adequate for phase 2 and phase 3? Because it was, you know, the bill for 1, and that's all they really cared about, but, you know, they probably knew that they were phasing it out. Looks like it's gonna be fine, and
So it's been long enough because phase 1, when it was initially built, and it sat just bare dirt. So they worked through and sort of addressed the punch list items for the 1 and 2, but because of the sizing, it's you got the erosion, the rain, it was all just bare dirt for years. Took a while, they come in and dig some of it up, disturb all the vegetation, and then, you know, get the rains, snow, and sort of the banks appear to be sloughed in, and then that's part of your normal process in any subdivisions. At the end, part of these submittals, get verification. They basically survey the whole pond and prove up that they need the
That
capacity.
sounds pretty easy. It's just.
so I just wanted to, I didn't say for there to be some big issue that comes up that, well, we don't have enough land, or, you know, it's just something.
No, nothing like that.
Well, that's what it said. That's where it looked like it would be okay, just, but it wasn't, you know, like some refurbishing or something. Okay, so that's, this has.
So, if I may, I think that phase 1, 2, and 3 were designed to incorporate that into those developments. I think it was sized because phase 4 was never really part of 1, 2, and 3. That changed in the development of phase 2. When that terminated, the previous developer decided just to quit at phase 3 or quit at phase 3, yeah. So I think the size, and obviously verification has to be done, but I think it was planned for all 3 phases, from what I learned.
Yeah, so that's correct. It was designed and planned for all 3. But part of
That's
the
the difference there, so it's
verifying that it's a survey.
there's been a transition of the developers in the process.
Yeah,
So it's just that
Take
verification.
some major thing,
they generally just come in, they shoot in the banks and the slopes and then they reach the capacity and say, yes, we need the volume that we're back for. Call that. So not that it wasn't planned for all 3, just never verified.
Does the developer need to take down, or is that the city really needs to be engineered? So we need to.
Yeah, so
So you send that in that or the original developer. I guess I don't particular, we're not worried about who does that work as long as they submit it. If
This
you're
would be
not.
Jones and
that
Jones
data-
Associates would be doing this.
No, the developers usually have their engineer.
Joe would be reviewing.
Yes.
To verify.
Verify.
And there, I mean, there's a high likelihood that the work's already been done. It's just the verification side of it.
Well, just because Carson Jones was the original developer, he would have had his own, and then he came in and phase three, that had nothing to do with the retention. So this would be the old developer's initial assessment of the retention pond.
Yeah, so they'll be talked about it with as well, but because it's still attached to your phase.
Yeah.
We need to make sure it's.
There's still adequate.
I guess I don't know who to get that information.
Well, I think, and we as a council don't want it either, I think you'll have to get it with Ty.
Yeah. We can get with you and help facilitate that. Right, correct.
It just has to be there, whoever you get to it. It has to be. Turned into the city that it is capable of having water. So, but that is on the developer or property owners, wherever they do the phase, make sure that it is. So that it passes. Then it's gonna get- So.
But he has his things marked
if
off.
Somebody's gonna, it's probably gonna have to come.
I know, he's muted himself.
Maybe.
Yeah, but when I
Oh, no,
unmute,
he's
you guys hear me?
unmuted
I'm trying to talk. Can you hear me?
All right,
Oh.
so,
There's a-
yeah, if you get with the staff.
Oh, the property.
Right.
Engineers. Can't remember who you guys.
I mean.
Test, test, test.
Because they sound different. You see things that- Hey,
This is not a review, we usually have something that we have to do.
Oh, yeah, I just. First time last.
All right, so I'm your kind of motion on this.
I'd like to make a motion to accept, to grant final acceptance for the particle patch phase three subdivision contingent upon having their intention on inspected to engineers.
Just the condition on the verification
Verification,
that it's completed according to plan.
the contingent upon the, contingent on being completed. According to the plan.
Second,
Second. I'll second. Motion by Gary, second by Mary, all fair say aye.
aye.
This motion carries.
Any
I'm
chance you
hoping
guys
Mary
can
said,
hear me?
Okay.
Pardon?
Well, oh, Phil, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, we're having audio.
No,
issues.
no, no, no. Can you hear me?
That's will be consideration of final acceptance from Highland Meadows.
And this one's very similar, except we don't have any proposed conditions with this. It's just consideration to accept the final improvements, and we have a recommendation from engineering to do so. So I don't know if there's any questions about that.
So that was pretty straightforward, there's nothing to concern about.
No, there wasn't anything.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we, do final acceptance for the Highland Meadows.
Thank you.
I'll second. Motion by Ruth, second by Terry. Aye. Thank you.
Bill was a yes.
Or C, consideration of conditional use permit for construction of a garage at 755 Atlantic Hills Drive in Hillcrest.
Yes, so before you this evening, and our code is a little bit unique on this front, because for sensitive lands for pole patch, explicit or specifically listed in our code, it describes that a conditional use permit comes before the council for the construction. So this item's actually been through planning commission with a recommendation of approval if some of the questions that came up about the building structure could be worked through. So I do have an email here. Our building official met with their architect and worked through this and were able to establish, because the question at hand was whether or not this would be a separate dwelling unit or had the perspective to be. And so this is a letter from Tyler Seaman, but it says, council, it is in my opinion, the Kerner garage should be considered attached with the latest update on plans showing that there being a continuous footing foundation between the garage and house and a connected roof. This should not be treated as a single family dwelling with an attached garage with habitable space in the upstairs attached garage. It would fall in line with our ADU or AAA, as we call it, with the attached accessory apartment, which has the primary dwelling unit owner occupied by the Kerners. I am supportive of this being considered an attached garage and would recommend approval. And with the plans associated with this, there is obviously, with this being sensitive lands and in the pole patch area, a component of impervious surface, and this does not exceed the impervious surface requirements. So I don't know if there's any specific questions with state law and conditions of approval. There are somewhat limitations on conditions that can be imposed. So you want to be looking at the sensitive lands element in imposing any condition.
I guess my first question, so are we approving garage, are we approving
It's an attached garage, so with Tyler's interpretation, it's part of the structure. It has the same footings and foundation that's contiguous.
so we're just attached to the original residence?
But it's an expansion of the original, but because you're modifying structures and buildings, that's why the conditional use permit comes forward. That's the call out in the code.
But it doesn't exceed the incremental.
It does not.
Percentages.
No.
It's
Mayor? The last time this came before us, we promised a concert.
No, this is different.
He's still working
The last time we had this, the same issue brought up, not this particular one, we were promised a concert, so that's less.
That's why we have.
You know, these guys aren't promising.
They're teasing with you.
Anyway. Mayor, I'll make a motion, as long as Tyler says it's okay, I have no problem, those houses are so big up there anyway. It's a piece of, on a 5 acre piece of property that have.
I just like to make it known, go ahead.
No,
That this is a garage, and then maybe you can come back in. But it's attached.
Yes, but the mayor is correct, and we do have some standards with the AAA in our code, and I think they're quite familiar. We've talked about it a lot, and I do appreciate the collaboration with the owners, because there's been a lot of back and forth and dialogue to vet through this, and originally there was a separate unit, and there's been a lot of work to make this compliant.
No, I have no problems whatsoever, just it's.
Yeah.
Process.
No, there is, yes, so if it is inhabited by another family or group, there is an approval and permit.
And that just stops the frontage.
It actually just goes to DRC. Oh, yeah. So that was something we changed to make it more easy with the state.
Just don't want, they just don't want us approving garage.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
No, that's a
Fine,
good, that's a good.
but-
point. That's a good point.
Any others?
Good point.
Makes love to get that. in.
Well, I have to make a motion if there's questions, Mayor, so thank you. We've had a hard day. Thank you so much. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we grant this conditional use permit for the construction of the garage, stated item number C.
One second.
Motion by Gibson, second by Aries. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Aries.
Bill says yes.
Okay.
and five's contract, and then consideration of an addendum to the city's agreement with the public services to modify its existing agreement to transfer the ownership of maintenance, trash, and recycling, acceptance, and public services.
The one on your counter is the newest one.
Thank you, sorry, that's what I know about. We did have a couple of tweaks from our legal counsel on this, so, just some clarification. So before you this evening is an addendum to our agreement with, Republic, our waste provider, well, not waste provider, but waste management and pickup provider. And so in looking at the status of our current fleet of trash and recycling receptacles, they are experiencing some aging issues. Plastic and the breakdown in the sun is a real challenge and problem. It becomes brittle. It doesn't last forever. And so we have noticed an influx in increasing need to replace cans. As part of that, in talking with Republic, they are a full service provider and are willing to take on the burden or the task of managing the fleet for us and ultimately be replacing that, but obviously there's a cost associated with that. In looking at the numbers for replacement in the last year, we don't have a finite historical reflection of the age of the cans that we have in our fleet. There's a little bit of a mix there, and so we're not certain that this is the exact right number, but this is based on historical and recently. And Tyson, you're welcome to chime in if you'd like, but ultimately looking at an increase in the monthly rates, and this is in addition to the CPI that is included in our agreement with them, of $1 per month for the first cans, and then for those that have secondary cans, it'd be 85 cents a month. And that would cover any damage replacement. They would basically be maintaining and managing that for the city. We don't have a designated staff person to assist with this, so it really does fall on the shoulders and the lap of our public works. And it's not really something that we've had a lot of capacity to help with. This will be a shift in the calls going directly to Republic, because they'll be owning and managing the cans. And so we're not this pass through, and that's kind of the proposal this evening. I don't know if there's questions.
I have one question.
Oh, go ahead. I was just gonna say, do we feel like some of the damage to the cans is because we have mismatching truck to cans? Like, my can's been fine for 20 years and now it's breaking now, you know? And like, I really don't think it would without a different truck.
It's 20 years old.
I know, but I understand, it's fine.
No, I'm experiencing the same.
Right, and I can
So
see that.
definitely, that is a problem, which is, talking about recycling cans and for. So I think initially they were not paying for cans, but that started off some of the propagating some of the change to it, so that's my.
I bought the black ones too and recycling.
Do you have a question? Marcus, question?
Yeah, so that $1 extra and 85 cents extra, that's on all the cans we have right now out there. So it'll be a couple thousand or every month. Okay.
So, this is gonna ask this question. Stay, but what would happen if we decided not to do this?
To not do recycling under this?
Yeah.
So we just,
Recyclers is sold or closed or nobody seems to know.
oh, to eliminate recycling entirely. So we have gotten the numbers just and it's a comparable, Councilmember Gibson had requested that, and the cost breakdown was pretty much the same as what we were doing before. With the can maintenance, component, I'm not certain, I haven't done that analysis on what the difference would be with that, but the difference between recycled earth and the Davis County recycling really hasn't been any different.
And most that have done that switch, they essentially turned their blue cans into the same. Yes, you just have a lower rate next can. The store.
So does that mean there's $1 for recycling can and $1 for the for, you know, that's for the extra. the 85 cents.
So you're talking about black cans, is that what you mean?
Yeah, so that's why I would want to clarify, we're getting $1 for recycle, $1 for the garbage, first garbage, 85 cents for the second.
Is that what?
And-
it is?
Yeah, I think that that's,
So your first can's $1, and that's pretty typical, your X cans, your
And that would count for recycling too, because that's the first.
Is that
Mhm.
why it's a lower price? Is because as much? I mean, I wondered why first, having the first can show the cost of the second.
the first can, they're going there no matter what. So then you get the lower cost. It's kind of like buying gold. I'm already at your house. So if I have to lift up 3 and then go to the next one, that's how I. thought of it. That's why your X is
It makes sense, but it doesn't mean it's gonna not fail faster. That's- To me, that piece of extra can will be the same price.
You're, and I apologize, I don't want to cause a big stink here, but that just seems like a lot of money. You know, a can is what does a can cost us if we were to buy one at $125 or?
Yeah, you're in that 130 range, but
So
this amount is to cover all.
I understand that, but a replacement can is $125. And they're gonna do 400 for, so how many stops do we have? 2,000,
and I wasn't able to get that. I'm sorry.
so.
But-
One up here.
It's between 25 and 27.
So let's just say 3,000 for my math. So that's, you have 3,000 cans out there. And so, I mean, just seems like they're making out pretty good is what I'm.
No, between recycling and waste, you're closer to like 6,000 when you total all of it.
So
So,
I had it all, so 3,000,
well, there's 6,000 now.
Yeah, there's more than 3.
Cans.
oh,
I would,
Oh, because that is the extra can.
Yeah, so yeah.
it just, I don't know, it seems
I
very
don't know what that
expensive to do that. I know that we want to pass, we want to take that out of the city responsibility. And that's really what Public Works is doing. We don't want to deal with it. We don't have cans, stock cans, extra cans to do it. So we're getting out of that business, we're putting it on to the Republic. But that dollar that I'm gonna have to pay, or $1.85 that I'm gonna have to pay every month on my bill now is really adds up to be a lot of money. And I just don't know, you know, is that, I would like to see a study on what that really means over the course of a couple of years.
Yeah.
Because, yes, we have aging cans, and I'm in the same with Ann. I've been here 30 years, I have the same can, or whatever long it's been. We had can. Whenever we started, 25 years, we had the same can, I had 0 problems with it. It's not breaking. The new company is rougher. It is always on the ground. Where the old company would stand up straight, but the lid's always over and it's always either sitting on the lid or something, so they are rougher with it. And I know that was an issue that we had to bring up. You know, that these cans, they're not exact cans that they would use with their.
Equipment, they're not exactly compatible, and they were willing to take us on regardless
So,
of that.
I would like some more information, Dan, honestly, and I would almost like to see some numbers before we approve this. Because it seems like a lot. You were showing
Yeah,
us
so-
numbers here, so what are they?
so I calculated, if you, 6,000 cans, you got $1 for each can. That's pretty close, here, 85 cents. $1 for each can, $72,000, and divide that by 400 cans. It's $180. So we're paying $180 for them to go out and replace
Up to 400
up to
cans.
400 cans
So-
that are aging.
The hard part about that would be if you're sending all the service calls there, and part of it wasn't just Public Works not wanting to do it, it was. You had it broke down, and I've said it 100 times, the fairest way to do it is exactly how Pleasant does. Part of it wasn't working, because every time somebody complained, we had to revamp and dig in and don't have time to keep doing
We spend so much time fighting about,
Well,
that. That was the hang up.
we had a cost for replacement can of what?
It's just 135. 135.
The 135 replacement can.
It's $1
And then dollar for dollar, and that's it, so either we need to have a standard of. Because now, again, we're turning that over, which, and I'm not saying anything against you guys, that, if that came up.
No, I just clarifying, I do.
But I do, I mean, I do know that you don't want, or public works, that's something you'd like to take up, and I think, that's not a negative, or that's.
well, and I'll
That's a
be,
fact.
yeah, I'll be frank, I mean, it was something I wanted to take off their plate because,
So,
but
You're just.
but I wanna make sure that it is a good thing, because they're making now $60 if it's at 135. I mean,
Well, they're covering the cost of.
Employees.
So they're making. And I'm going off of you, we have some numbers here, but they're $50 is what they're charging. Per extra can for minimum 400, and then I don't like this. Thing in our thing, the good faith between city, company and city. That's a, good, who defines good faith? In item number 3, the replacement cards. After the 400, at the rate negotiated in good faith in the city, that, have we negotiated that, or what's that going to be? I just,
Well, they-
Year, right?
I don't like, I mean, good faith, what does that mean?
So your 400 should cover it all, but.
Okay,
But
but if,
if
if it doesn't, then it's gonna be in good faith, then they're gonna charge us, what does that mean? Is that also, I don't know, that's a.
well, it is unknown, and I think that's where it's gonna be a good faith negotiation. I think that's what it's saying. I mean, if this needs to change, then we,
Anyway, that's just,
You know,
I would like to get some more information before I vote on it personally. So that's-
too, one thing we gotta consider, and I think we are, but just, it's not even just the cost of the can, it's the cost of everybody's time. By the time we have our public works deal with the complaint, load up the can, store the can, take the can, bring a replacement can, I just, is $40, is that worth that,
Just
like,
Debbie.
we probably are spending,
Who's
in
getting
all of
extra
that.
cans?
And so it's the same
Sure.
thing now you're doing with
Which do some
Republic,
training.
you're paying for the employees to take those phone calls to
So
come in.
they'll,
They'll
have all the.
But now my can's good, but now I'm paying into that fund.
But part of it, oh, sorry.
Well, but now I'm paying into that, which before, if someone wanted an extra can, they pay. Now, everybody's paying.
The problem is the majority of things that happen with kids. It's because it's long, they've been out there all the time, but it's also because they're. And we really need to put that price, we need to put that cost back on. it.
But I just don't know, and that is an issue, we talked about that when we changed providers. Because we do have these 20-year-old cans,
right,
and some of them are abuse, I mean, I've seen them out there. They're abuse, and if they stink. Tyson gets a thing, I want a new can. If mine's dirty.
oh yeah, we get calls all the time.
And
about
that's,
the cans.
and so you pay for a new can, you have a new can, but here, everybody is paying. I'm gonna be paying 30, $40 a year extra, and if my can lasts another 20 years.
But then when you need a new can, it's available. I mean, I guess that's the tricky. And it really is a policy decision. It's the council's decision. If you'd like to continue to do things as we are, that's absolutely fine as well. I mean, it's just something that I felt like there was a lot being put on staff with managing all of the cans, and we've got an aging infrastructure problem with the cans, and we need to do something, and maybe it's not doing it this way, but we do need to put some type of increase or find some type of cost to make up that fleet in some way.
Well, people call, they're so angry that they have to pay for that can. I think a lot of times because they feel like they didn't do anything wrong, like it was a mistake or whatever else, right? And so.
But, and that's a lot of that conversation, and just like I said, my can's been good for 20 years, but it's like. So it's obviously bad, that's, how do you argue that against a resident? So the answer just comes down to no, if you want a new one, this is the solution. If you have video, like we submitted. What, almost $3,000 in, that they were willing, that they did acknowledge, they took it in the hopper. They did acknowledge that X happened, that their driver admitted to, so we submit that, and they credit you with the bills. But like, it all gets back to the time spent on that too. It very much is a factor that it's just, it is gonna be busier. Wasn't as big of an issue, but the time part. We were managing garbage and the waste under your same people that were doing the sewer and the water. That's how it's been for ages, and it just, the time spent. Bree's position was basically dealing with waste can calls and then us submitting requests to pay for these cans, and some the resident got involved where it's like they're saying no, you know. Our system wasn't built because we didn't have issues, so we need to build a system that tracks warranty ages. That's Republic's first question: how old can? Well, half of them can't even prove how old they are, because there is a warranty element that you could take back with the providers of the cans themselves. But we could only do that with the waste cans, not the recycling, because recycling was owned by Econo Waste, and we couldn't get the data from them, so we have no way to aid.
Those are all different.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate Republic taking on our cans that aren't their cans, but I wonder if we could somehow incentivize, like we say to Republic, something like, okay, like we will pay this amount, but that's for all cans that we replaced this year, like not with the number of 400, you know? And if they are less, then great, they're incentivized, but if they're more, then I don't know, I just feel like they're handling it to the point where it's gotta be some kind of incentive of some sort.
What was the conversation? Was it, how did you come up with 400?
Well, and the 400 is just based on historic data, so I think the last year we replaced about 350, is that right, Tyson?
Yeah, it's just from our orders essentially.
And so it's what we've been ordering, and one thing, I guess, with this proposed shift, I mean, you're looking at a higher compatibility between your cans and the trucks as well. And so some of the damage or the issue, I mean, again, they took on our cans, which, I mean, some providers may not have been willing, and really, and I think we all know, I mean, they're the only person or group that submitted. So they're,
How much would, I know that it was a rush thing. That's not a question of what happened, but if we would have gone through and not been in a panic mode. And they would have just thrown away our cans and brought in their cans, what would the price difference have been? To have Republic,
oh, massive, I
I
mean,
mean, like what, do you have any idea
so
what the
if,
cost would have been?
yeah, if Tyson says we have
Well, so, and that's for another 20
Yeah,
years.
6,000 cans times,
Almost $1 million.
That, so I just,
To me, I see what you're saying, Steve, to me, it's considering what you said, we have one person bid. And this, 400 cans and, is kind of like what we can afford and, $1 increase, I get it. But I also think it's worth it, but if you want.
I
We
just,
could have warranty on the can, like when they replace the can, then it's guaranteed or warranted for the time.
Well,
Here,
that's
I don't have
that
to do that.
acceptable warranty, those reference, and I guess I would be familiarized myself with how that equates through them now. 'Cause I guess we just figured it out through the other way, so I'd have to.
Would that be based on the user too, that as long as they fell within the parameters and didn't abuse their can, then it exists, because you can only control what the company does, you can't control what I do at my house today. To really.
Yes, because that's always been a battle, but where do you draw the line charging even with how we were doing the half price before? That's what in the fee, see unless, it's obvious neglect, but that was always difficult to prove. I mean, aside from somebody, putting hot ashes and melted it into the ground, the occasional saw cuts down the side. But a lot of the saw cuts are the concrete, the overlay to,
So they have.
Those
Get in the
were-
game.
So just
And it's just not the 35, but when Daddy gets that list.
It's gross, I mean,
So the city's gonna pick it up.
it's everything seems to be going up. because we bring it-
And so that was-
This has been a conversation that's been going on since. It's been after the whole time. Negotiating prices for garbage and services and stuff. It is.
But that's the big trigger is
Yeah.
everybody's
Yeah,
fine with
I
it
guess
until you
that's-
say it.
Yeah. I didn't think about that. And then they have.
But that's-
And they like.
No, it's-
No, this is both.
Extra 65.
100. Black.
Yes, because some of it's trying to account for, so we basically just took our orders for what we've been ordering. Covering new installs of the road cans.
You try and brainstorm something that'll work, a solution, but can we do this for like a year and then reevaluate or like, I
I
don't know.
like your idea. I think, so if we replace every can, we have 6,000 cans, if we replace 400 a year, it's gonna take 15 years. 15 years, and most of your cans are gonna last. But
Yeah.
if we're out there, like right now, we need a lot of probably 400.
So recycling, just based off of when recycling started, you know, plus or minus how they rolled out. It's like that, but depending on how they rolled out, you're in that, that 15-year range. And it's, we did a wave of them. Like the 8, so 9, somewhere in there with the black cans, it's the same thing. It was, you started having to go through this wave of the original cans. That was still with the same garbage provider, but not a place where it's just, there's a time, just felt like for a year or two, that's all we were doing, is driving around, swapping cans out, saying they get into that range and they do great. And then there are factors with the individual, how they use it.
Yeah, I think we should continue to use our cans. If at all possible, zero one. Fill it, concentrate, garbage. Still working. So. Gotta continue to use the now. Go until they fail, if they fail, then replace them. I was just trying to do the math here, so if we did, it's 24, for me, it's $24 a month.
And if I, or I don't have, it,
So $24 a year. 15 years, you're gonna, yeah, you pay for your cans, it's
That's just about right.
15 years, that's about right. It just seems high to me. $1 a can per month seems high, but when you do that.
So even though So.
Another thought.
60, so yeah, that's two, that's two,
So you end up on paying 2 cents.
15.
So what if you take one can out of the equation, what if you do get rid of recycling and everyone just has like 2 cans instead of 3 cans, or, you know what I mean? And there's one less can to damage. If we're not truly, like, I guess right now we truly are recycling, you know, our city is, but.
Maybe as the rest.
So, you know, in this already. We're already budgeting in the owner price.
Is there?
So we have to budget on this.
This was actually the most conservative.
To buy cans?
Yeah, it was the most conservative proposal that Republic proposed. I mean, there were several scenarios, because our big conversation starter with them was, we've got this aging, not quite sure how old, you know, fleet of cans. What do we want to do? Where do we want to go? How do we make sure we have available cans? And that's where, you know, they get, because they order so many, I guess a discounted rate, their quality matches up better with their trucks. I don't know. They store them, we don't store them. I mean, and then just the sheer them being responsible, but I mean, you know, Larry's brought up a good point. You know, this is a shift from right now where we do, you know, ask people to be responsible if there's a broken can, that they bring forth that money. And so, but kind of do your math too, Dave. I don't know. I guess it could cancel out.
I still want them to be replacing cans that are brand new.
Right.
That's, I think it's 400 cans, and then putting that, if it goes above 400 cans, that cost comes back and hits us, or. Because I don't think the citizens are going to pay for that, they know that nation.
But they do have the expertise in this as well, and, you know, I think in working with people in the cans and whereas, and not that Public Works hasn't done a great job, but it's just a little bit trickier to work through this.
In fact, probably the complaint, and they're just broken.
Okay, so that's where the 400 come first, is
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm concerned it's just because you're managing it out. In your same city as the little stuff.
And is it a brand new plant, yes, or is it just one that's in their yard?
The cans would be brand new.
Well, I feel like what we have right now is not working. I don't know that I absolutely love the solution, like, but I also think that we've got to make some kind of a change. I don't think what we're doing right now is working. So I don't know if we can put lines around it and say, let's try this for 1 year and then reevaluate if they would go for that.
How long is this contractual agreement for? Does it say?
So the agreement, this actually kind of extends that out,
2029.
mhm. But if there's a desire, we could look at just having the addendum effective for a year.
It would change your.
Yeah.
That's what it's based off.
They're gonna raise it, they're gonna raise it.
And they,
Covering their costs out, knowing that they have work and then they own it, so then it's. What would happen is when you say if you put it out in. 2029. Now they own, we'll say half the cans by then, or a quarter of them. Now you've got enough gallons that you use it with your waste contracted services of whole. This now they own, we'll just say,
This one is.
yeah.
So the contract would be in place completely until 2029. The only way he can do is raise typically.
Well,
and there is a CPI increase in our agreement with them. Yeah.
Thank you guys.
I think most residents would rather pay $24 a year than if we replace their health care for $5.
That's usually covered for most students.
And
I can make a random $130, you know, why do I have to pay this? And then that's what the fight.
And then the 135, that's fully covered. How much city costs, the cost.
I feel like the majority of people are not using it. You know, and there's a handful, but the majority is just doing what they're supposed to be doing, you know.
They will still rate.
With the sun and the cold and the hot and the. It's still fun. It's.
There is a factor of that, there's no question.
But I
There's a
think
factor
we're
of
garbage
their
can
trust in their machine, that's, I follow them. See, it's. So
They're
it's different than how. the climate rates operate. It does seem to work at a faster function, and I guess that comes from, sure, where you're been away from a family-owned operated Weaver County to a nationwide company that's they're trying to do everything as fast as
I
possible.
can't remember if he said our cans are top heavy, is that what the design was?
Yeah,
And
they,
so it's,
they don't like
And
that
they've got like,
design.
it's gotta be.
So if you're gonna, set them up straight with the equipment they have, it's more difficult with how their truck operates versus maybe what the Econo waste because of that top heavy design.
Their elevator thing that it goes up on the track rather than.
Yes, where there's, the art scene just to be smoother and slower. That works now. So there's no question that's an element. And I personally believe that's why we have as many in the hopper pans as they did acknowledge. offer credit for is, I think we do have a lot of drivers in our system, that's part of that quick takeover.
And there was a lot of feedback given with the transition, I could, to the
And it-
contractor,
yes,
because
and it was
there were some issues.
Quieted down and anything that was, very obvious, then they were no issue whatsoever getting them to accept that responsibility. The tough ones are the more in question where, they break at that pivot point. That one's tough. Because the candidates will tell you that same thing, that's where they're gonna break in normal everyday use, it's right there, no, that's because they're flipping it around and the lid's whipping and, well, that's the same place that the can provider made, that's where they're gonna break, that's the pressure where you push that.
Yeah.
Pulling them, it's just the wear point of the can.
But if there is a desire for additional information, we can vet through and get that for you as well. We're happy to.
Is this time constrained at all? Or what information exactly do we want? Like, I mean, what's. What would it look like if they shortened the years of the contract or?
Or I don't know if you want more specific numbers, we can get like the exact on the cans.
So if you shortened it and you were trying to still do the replacement, your monthly rate would go up, that's the short. So yeah, part of pushing that out is to keep that rate lower. That was my understanding at least, is you push that change out rate, the total we were expecting to replace and provide new cans to new phones, that's still an element. So that's part of your new can ownership. All of that's happening. So yeah, short of that. No, I'm sorry, I guess I probably should have got both these back in, I would have had more numbers. But everything we talked about is like different pieces. So it's not. Try to put that together in one sheet somehow. I just think the part of the element that would be missing is sort of that matter. For the city side of it, you're just gonna see the straight cost. Which right now is just. It's hard things just wrapped up in. Somehow, the little bit of percentage that our wages are paid from the waste to.
Just kind of different average, so it's up here, some of the grade fives, some of it's about $1, so. It's interesting, this calculation shows what it should pay for 400 cans a year. So I don't know if we shortened it, we just do a 1-year trial. I would say, let's get backwards and see if we do 1 year trial. And see what works. Should, the amount collected should pay for the 400 cans. Yeah, every year, yeah. But they're not gonna go for that. Well, we don't know that. They've been pretty easy to work.
They've been really good with.
Well, that would lower the cost and we can make.
Because we're not replacing the entire fleet and, it's 400 cans. So if it's a
There
year,
was a proposal to replace.
right, that was, yeah.
Because I don't think that makes sense because why would I do, most of us have good cans, the majority do, but that's why they're gonna last. a lot more years.
Yeah.
So let us check with them and bring it back. Is that fair?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I don't some more information, but speculating.
Sure.
Yeah, I did. If we can avoid in the wording that the city's not responsible for getting over. That's why.
Well, and I think that's intentionally done on their part because they don't want to, if there's any overage, have to pay for that because they've calculated this based on what the 400 cans cost for them.
We also don't want them to get to Home to say, well, distribute 400 cans, and no more cans can be spared. I guess.
Sure, I can see them on it. I mean, we probably do need to front load that a lot, right? We need to probably replace a lot more in the first 2 or 3 years than we do in the last years. But I don't know how you put that in there, so.
If we're gonna table this, I would like to ask a specific question. How much would they charge us to sell us a can over there? I'd like to,
To just sell us their cans.
just, if they're getting a great deal or whatever. I would just like to know what, if we bought 400 cans from them, what would that cost? Just because you know, go up my memory, which I feel like I'm buying sometimes. Get some stuff. It seemed like we did put a little bit of cushion in there for the staff, and that pretty bad. I just,
Well, they're taking over service.
no, this, I think we put in, you know, our cost of whatever it was. I don't think it was $35. I think.
And it's straight across, but
Is
our
it-
wages are counted.
Is it 135?
Oh, yeah. We buy them, and we sell them at the same cost, I pick them up.
Is that a completed cut? Because this was 3+ years ago, maybe.
It was plus or minus pennies the last.
Yeah,
one.
we just rounded. It was like
Okay,
134.95 or
But
something.
we're not gonna do those anymore, but just I would like to know what, the public, we just said we want 20 cans.
How much would they charge us if
What
we
would they charge
want to
us
buy
if
their
we
cans?
wanted to
Yep.
buy a can? I just like,
Yeah, I'm sure they'd be happy to give us that information. And then, also we'll be evaluating the 1-year option, and then Laurie brought up a good point, but we just need to coordinate with Debbie on this as well, because she's, on the utility billing side of it.
you know, I mean, if it makes sense, it makes sense for all years. I don't think 1 year. Everything you said, I agree on. It's just, it just seems right to me in some regard. I don't know.
Well, it does feel expensive. I mean, I agree.
I just don't know, and I want to pay them for their service, but I don't want to get a break for their service. And I definitely understand our public works are stretched, and to take that off of their plate would be a blessing from them as well, but they've been doing it for 20 years. You know,
Their city's growing.
whatever.
No, this is.
No, I mean, that's true, yes, but. And I don't, personally, I didn't think it was that big of an issue. I know we had a few problems to begin with, but if you're looking forward again to the year, that is. I don't know, 400 divided by 12, what's that? And we were doing a month, that just seems like a lot. We are doing that many.
That's new houses.
So take new cans out. We're gonna do that anyway, they have to do it. How many places do we do?
If you have $135, so they can find out 12.
Anyway,
We have.
Yeah.
if we're gonna table it, then.
And, the other question I want to ask them is their warranty. I think Tyson brought up that issue, but what that looks like and how that affects us, you know, I mean, because hopefully if there is a 15-year warranty, or, you know, that's in play, and we're not replacing any of those new cans for 15 years.
You know, I don't want to go off the bear said about a year. I really don't think that's a big, I don't think we should waste time looking at a year. I think we need to get some good figures together of how many cans we have, the cost of
Well,
the real estate.
It's just a simple question to ask.
But-
Year by year.
But
So
because, you know, if we do it, if we change it for the first year, then we're completely out of it, and we can't go back.
Right.
Unless we go forward with the
But
2029, whatever it is.
With the year adjustment, and I talked with Dave about this earlier on the phone today, but I mean, you know, maybe next year we have more cans failing and we need 450, or maybe, you know, maybe we need to relook at this
Well,
on
see,
a
that goes-
regular
That
basis.
goes into the good faith between company and
Right.
city. I don't like that, because
Yeah.
what does good faith mean? I mean, that,
But that's just a negotiation.
yes, and so we can, so just some of those things. If you can prove it.
I mean, we can
if
take
we can
good
do a
faith out of
study-
there,
if
but
we
we've
can
got to
do a study
negotiate.
on it, then we can know exactly how that information down
So
there.
knowing what the cost of the can could be, we could see what it perspective.
Let's spend $20,000.
Steve, you were surprising me like.
Mayor, you're a good man.
So,
Yeah, I make a motion that we table this item, for the contract addendum with Republic and get further information on cost of can, warranty, and the things that we discussed.
I've got a list.
motion by Harrison, second by Uri, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. With fact, item 3, the budget workshop. I asked for this to be put on, usually this is kind of done by now. Dave, made some comments, that kind of made me concerned. I would like to get everything patched out. I'd like to get everything patched out. So that when we go to the future taxation hearing, we have a budget, and this is the budget we really not, really still going to. If there's no question, there's no areas of trend, that kind of stuff, I think we need to do it now, not at that hearing.
We can still do it here, but I agree, I haven't talked to you about this, but I really appreciate this, I don't know if there is to go through, to tell you the truth, but
Maybe we ought to get it out.
maybe there's some priorities, things we really want to accomplish that we haven't really opportunity. I'm not sure I'll be quite, but I want to spend, me personally, I feel like I need to spend more time on delivery and understand why you're doing it, but I don't think. Other than going through it line item by line.
Yeah.
We don't need to really address, and then we don't need to address all. It's just a general. Concept.
Yeah, I didn't know, you just kind of sounded like you got some reservations or. Like I said, I just. Turned all this on. What page here before we go into, because they're hard enough.
Nothing. We're just, general fund.
Yeah, I personally didn't know why it was on the agenda today, but I did make a comment that, hey, we ought to be able to reduce costs, and let's prioritize the stuff we have. I would tell you the truth, unless you go into each of these items, I don't know. Really great. I do think, we've talked, with the police chief next, we're talking about next, we're looking at, hey, where are some options for us to improve efficiency and reduce cost, I think is really what the public works. We haven't really got deep into that stuff, but
Here's this is some thoughts here. Based on that statement, it's, you know, my whole career is information. Yeah. Basically, man, I went out and developed systems, systems to help people be more efficient, help them do their job better. And, you know, that was part of the job. The hardest part, making the county commissioners understand that by doing that, we were not going to save that money. We were going to not cost them. In other words, county recorder's office, for example, went from it's like 1,000% increase in employee documents over a 10-year period to develop systems. So they did not have to hire one more person. They were able to use my systems, their systems to keep their employee costs flat. So they were able to process 1,000% increase in work. And that's pretty much true all across the board. You know, in every system we develop, that was one of the first things we looked at. Is this to make your job easier? Are you just coming here to make your job easier so you get more time to sort of internet? Or Or is it to more efficient to say, to say processes? And so that was kind of, I mean, that's really a true story. That was the first thing we looked at, because we would get requests. Can you do this, and this, which has some costs associated. So where I'm headed with this is, you know, when the statement is, we want to improve the processes, or we want to look at things to save money, that's the hard. But easy, or not the easier part, but the part we ought to really kind of say is, how can we not cost them? I love how you explain that, and I'm totally on board with what you're saying. Because, well, I mean, I think we're already talking about that, where maybe we already, you know, at least we already have presented to us to increase that. How do we get by with what we already have? How do we change our methods so that we don't have to increase? See?
So I don't have anything specific with the budget, so I'm not gonna talk about that specifically, but budgets have always been the worst part of this job for me, because you want to give everybody everything you can. And the city, this is the frustrating part, the city or any government doesn't create any dollar amount, it's all off the back of the taxpayers. You know, me as an individual person, I have budgets. If I want to buy a new, I just bought me a new T-Rex, you know, and I budgeted for that. And sacrifice other things, you know, food, air conditioning.
I'm worried about you, Steve.
Water, yeah. So my wife, had to get them, no, just kidding, but. You know, we live within a budget in our personal house. And cities do to a certain point, yes. But a budget in the government side is, you put forth a wish list, and then it's, you know, you put as much as you can, and you hope to get some, and then you spend everything you got, because if you do save, or if those practices that you talked about, you know, then that budget's lower because you didn't need that much. So it's a horrible philosophy that it's round and round and round. Where does it stop? Is because, you know, government needs that. They need budget in order to function. You need a new tractor, we need a new lawnmower, we need a new dump truck, we need a new police car, we need a new, you know, whatever. I mean, how much money have you spent on email? Trying to improve our email over the last, their website. A lot of, we've got nothing. So there's no accountability.
We have a web committee.
But we spent, I don't know how much we spent, but it would shock us if we really realized over the years how much money we put into that. How much money we put, I mean, we've okayed new sound system stuff for years. And I don't know, but we still have the same thing. And so that's maybe my fault for not following up on some of those budget things. But we've okayed it, and maybe it just hasn't got cut. It's been pushed on the next year and all of the things, but it's a tough thing. And so I hear what Dave's saying, you know, we need to cut it, and I do not want to have a tax increase. But we're almost gonna have to, because the growth, you know, we're sucking down all of our rainy day fund to nothing, and we can't do that. We can't be kind of hoarding one of the whole. You know, and I mean, I want stuff for the city. I want things that cost money that we haven't got. I want new tables for Founders Day. I want, you know, I want to make, you know, redo this building. I want to get rid of the CERT building and have you know, like Amy's thoughts of having just a place over there for activity, you know, that we can rent out and just do all those things. We just got nothing. And I don't know how we got roads, $10, $12 million worth of roads we got to fix.
Well,
You know, where does that come in the budget? And how do you figure all that in? Because we can't get rid of a dump truck. We need to have a dump truck. We gotta have this. I don't know where that ends.
it's grown, it's grown pains. We've always been a better community, and we prided ourselves on it. However, I mean, they're kind of at a shift or a place where we're not a small veteran unit. Right? And we're getting the businesses in here. I mean, fantastic. What we accomplished in the last 2 years. It's just, you know, unbelievable compared to what Scott. That's 40 years. So it's a wonderful thing, you know, and we could, I mean, that's the philosophy I think we're gonna probably have more discussion about at the truth and taxation. hearings. We really want to go 18%, a whole percent, really see what comes in. Yeah, you're looking at, you know, called our sister city, North Ogden, and that they are not quite twice the size we are. But they got a heck of a lot of commercial, and, you know, they do things like build a $13 million police station. The number of employees that they have too big to manage. It's just, how do you afford it? And yes, their tax rate is higher than everything else. So I think we've done a really good job holding our costs down. We are kind of at this, now we're getting busy with getting all this. Yeah, we're still kind of have, not a small town mentality, but we have a small town purse.
Purse and staffing as well. And so, I mean, you talked about all of this amazing growth that's happened. That's also been on the backs of staff too. I mean, so we're dealing with all of what we're doing, plus this massive commercial growth, plus new crime. I mean, it's just, it's a lot, and we're here and we're happy to do it, but it's just a lot.
And I think that's partly my fault too, but still thinking of a small town community, you know, the good old boy network, and there, that is, I mean, I want to, but it isn't that way. And that is, I will own that, because that is my feeling. We can do that for nothing. We can have why don't we have the city people come on down and say, just donate their time? I'm donating my time, you know, and I'm saying that.
Well, no,
We believe in the Fair Labor and Standards Act.
That is my feeling. I'm coming, I'm not asking for 1 penny to come and do a Founders Day meeting. I'm not asking a penny. I get it's the blood, but so pay me, you know,
Yeah.
raise my salary here. Yeah, I mean, but
That's your choice.
I know, but I'm just saying that is my thought, how things should go, because I remember, you know, being a true American and you do love your community. But
He seriously knows.
But I know we can, and I'm not asking for that, because it is going to that next thing, and that's my mentality, for sure, and I need to address that and look at that and say, okay, we are in the real world, and that's been one of the hardest things for me over the last 12 years, is to accept that we are a bigger community with the commercial. I mean, I look at the new stuff Bailey and Boyer are gonna be doing, and that's going to be huge, and we are going to need a whole, almost different department or something with that. Because that is going to, our commercials, I don't know what percentage that's gonna be, but it's gonna be. 100, I don't even know.
Well, I agree with you. I think actually the time has already passed us by and we're trying to still catch up.
Yeah,
And
probably is.
it's like, oh, since 2016, we've almost had the same amount of employees that our city's done. And so it's like.
I get it, anyway.
It's doubled with residents, but has nothing commercial.
Which,
Well, And
Yeah.
if we don't have any, if if nobody has any really particular things in the budget, we kind of just talk solve. But if we don't have any, and if you do, and you don't want to, you know, if you want to get with Mari, flush it out, that's fine. We will be the other meeting and you can bring. I'm not saying you can't, you see, you know, I was worried, it's like, whoa, it's, you know, what's he worried about? Let's maybe we're all worried about it, or should be worried about it.
I do agree with everything you said, what we've said, we're managing the budget well, we've done well over the years, and we've got by a lot less than most. Our rate is still really good by city, it really is, for everything we've accounted, we're a lot of it.
So, I mean, I'm happy with the budget. I think we should, you know, leave it as it is, but that doesn't mean that we are stuck with it. I think we need to evaluate stuff, and I think that goes with your saying of evaluating things. So give some different stuff to make this work smarter enough. And I still think that should be. We probably need to go to 80% probably is not a really unrealistic thing.
I don't know. I really don't know. That's what we need now. To get a respectable fund balance.
So we probably need, 40 or 50% really. In reality, but the commercial will come.
I
and
think
then
you
make
guys
us
will
a-
like this, I hope you'll.
So, do we, I mean, I don't really, I guess I'm not sure I care about what's happening in the rest of the county, but or other cities, are we hearing other cities on the tax? Almost there.
Yeah, it's almost become a necessity with the inflation rates. It's, yeah.
And the
South Ogden.
counties too, the counties.
School district, and that's what kills the. Fire. Mosquito abatement district is, cemetery district's not.
It's like, your neighbor was down north, 2 minutes.
Oh, really?
The other businesses coming in. They're just. They're just, it's our neighbors to the.
But which still have 10 to 1.
I know.
I don't know if the state thought was ever gonna happen then.
Just think they ever have.
It's good play.
It's all
It's
that.
awesome.
And, I don't know where you can't, the sales tax data you can't get for one particular business.
No.
So, they give us, so we have no idea how much like a Chick-fil-A's going to bring in. Or any of the others that have come to our city that aren't, we have no ideas, and so they're all.
But it has to be better than.
It's got to be way better. Yeah. All collectively, I think it's really good. All right,
50% of them, 50% stays here, 50 goes.
population.
I sent out a bunch of weird equations that I found on the state website.
Did you not give you guys a heads up on the meeting that they stuck in right across the right in between the north,
Oh, that's all.
We fought that for hours and hours and hours. Yeah,
just curious, when I saw that the other day, I'm like, what?
Just,
You got the link there.
it's mostly, once they get to traffic.
Okay.
but then the last was with the businesses that are going in, there's no way
So
they can
now
ever
people
use that.
turn right, was it to put the U to come back?
And that's what they said. I said,
And that's correct. Okay,
Rather have them-
okay. Sorry, when I saw that, I thought that's really stupid.
It's exactly what I said. 55 miles per hour. Yep.
Sorry. I was curious.
All right, if there's nothing else then on that, we'll move to the next item. Item 6 of the business, start with Tyson. Yeah.
No fiber is moving along, if you haven't noticed, they're moving fast, I think they just started in some more, they're calling palms, units, so. It's heading up. Through, so just trying to keep up.
One of the bridges on the
It's
water.
in my
fund.
Ground or something, yeah. So they keep telling
Is
me.
anybody-
how do we do
That's
this?
not.
So I've not, I haven't tried that, put it in the ground.
They haven't got any fiber in there, so
Is it by your house too?
It's all.
There's a, they put a thing online for us. It comes- Yeah.
So we had water last Tuesday and we all.
Yeah, so they went and. So it was almost exactly a week apart from last year's, and almost the same, exact match, the whole blew out. Mike went around and kind of, was up looking around in the neighborhoods and seeing if he can attach it to some sort of event or something happening in that, so essentially, they did find a cap off. Made a request to a homeowner that has some a video camera that might have it. We haven't got word back from it, but. Yeah, that, it just just gets back to that same conversation with what was up on 43, that's your 90s era, and that the pipe doesn't look healthy, aside from being odd, that it's the same. Yeah, just see the arrows of the pipe, isn't encouraging for.
So it's not
That
the
was-
weather, the heat, the any of that.
Well, you get, that's why you have the 2 seasons, as you're shifting from the frost, as the frost freeze thaws, it's the same thing, that's why your late night, winter pressure spike at night is always in that. It's when the system goes static, essentially your pressure starts to build, so everybody goes to bed. That's why they're generally at night, but the pipes condition doesn't. It's not encouraging your boom, original Pleasant View boom in that early 2000s era, late 90s, that we have a lot of that in the grants.
It's mid-90s. I moved in 94.
Yeah, it's a big chunk of the city, and it is worrisome, because that was the same thing, every valve top up on that 4300. The bolts were rotted off, and what's considered the life cycle of a water system, those shouldn't be old. They always call it hot clay, and why it eats away the way it does. But, no, it was big, they dug it out, got a prep for patch, the new streets guys, again, I can't thank any, all our staff enough. They go up really well. Yep, police were there, that, for what it was, it went well. Then, yeah, that group coming in, trying to prep some of our own patches back to, so we have the people get settled and time, can save money in other places by having the right staff to accomplish the work. That's not something we historically would do, is prep, especially large patches. And they coordinated and got some guys from each of the different departments, and sort of got credit to save that cost, so. That's something we're looking at doing, but a lot of our patches, that's why you're starting to see some of the square out. There's some that the contractors will still come and do, depending on, we don't have the right. But the little off-street ones, that's our goal. Start to get a better patch rather than just throwing it in whatever hole's there.
You survived. Yeah.
And I survived scout camp, so I'm just trying to play catch up for my stuff now. Kids didn't throw me and abandon me in the lake, and it's very nice, so appreciate the chance to get away for a minute. Even though I love to donate time, I donated my pickleball time, as I learned the tournament with my 9-year-old who wants to be the LeBron James pickleball. He hung out over there, they gave him way too much candy. But it's fun. Yes, it's good.
Did you win?
We'll figure out something better, but
He didn't play.
those lights are still all jacked up. It's just, I think they're on. Still. Anyway, no, it's good. Thank you for your support.
You may have noticed the magnetometer, we've got out in the hall here now. So we did a test trial run tonight for court, and it went very, very well. Kept all the riffraff from congregating at the door and isolated it before it came into the courtroom. Able to move them in swiftly and quietly. Judge commented it went very well. So I know they'll not go through this. So, yeah, what we do, we have come to the front immediately for that, and immediately push it through so they don't congregate, and they didn't congregate tonight. So it seemed to work out very well. We had an individual in court tonight, came in on a suspended driver's license, rather than an insurance charge. While I was sitting here in court, I saw him come in by himself, and I thought, how did he get here? He's so while he was here, Braxton and I went out and ran his information. Found out he was still suspended, still no insurance. So I sat out the parking lot, waited to see where he went. He had parked his car on 3450 on the dead end. I watched him go up. Get in us. So he pulled out, and so we charged him again with the same thing, and found out he had 2 warrants out in the jurisdiction for him.
Awesome.
So. Never ceases to amaze me. Good thing is we grabbed him, the judge was real happy, because he worked out something for him, has him walk out the door, that very same. Anyway, all of them ends well, we're done. The other thing I have some stats for the call citations arrests in June. We had 811 case numbers in June, 113 citations and 50 arrests. Busy month, summer's here. Summer's there.
I just have a great big grand welcome to Tammy, our new friend. Excited that she stepped in and taken on that role and really, I mean, she's jumped right in. So it's very, very nice to have her here. Yeah, we posted her old position and we're just trying to figure out how to place everybody in our, talk about growing pains in our little space. We'll play Tetris every.
I second your thoughts, so Tammy's amazing, she's so good with the public. She's very capable, incredibly intelligent, she knows what she's doing.
I think so. Thank you.
I am. Thanks.
Several citizen comments that were provided. One was the fireworks sign, no fireworks above this point, has been moved quite a bit up 500. Used to be kind of now road, you know, but just their concern was there's a field there that could take off to redrive.
That's funny, because Mary said it was at, you know,
Kind of felt like it kind of felt like you got the run right when you called in, so it's. Yeah. Well, there, fire department, everyone was just kind of pushing around, they were not able to get answer, so, I don't know.
This field right here happens to be low.
But even so, like, it's not now there, it's, and it says no fireworks above this point, so, I'm just saying, that's. Maybe we could do. I had a resident suggest that we do, as part of our veteran monument, a peace officer. You know, portion of that, where you have like one that honors the firefighters and that, so just don't have a suggestion. Another resident suggesting that we capture the storm sewer energy by putting a turbine on 500. So we can capture the electricity coming down in that storm line. So I have to.
It's actually pretty good stuff. I put they do them in, it's supposed to be on the east.
They got some
coast,
money,
the west,
you said?
but yes, you need some money.
That's the only.
We don't have a power
Well,
company.
sports park, wait, you could capture.
Some of them,
Turn it into.
they actually put it in their water main.
Well,
Still,
it's probably,
down.
you know, that's money.
Well, we just.
Keep it in mind. Yeah.
Yeah, you bet my nose.
you find money for that, I would love to do that. Like, I think it's amazing stuff, actually.
I don't know how much.
Certainly.
Generate.
I don't know.
The drop we have here, I bet that generate.
That's what we talked about, other transmission mains, we actually put it in the culinary main. That's always, so you're making money sending it out, so you have it in your culinary that never stops running. It's not, you're not waiting for a store. The culinary system's always in motion and never stops, you're already paying for it, so.
All right, one more thing. for me.
No, I'm kidding, no, I'm not. No, and then I just wanted to bring back up that we are out for our RFP right now for our local. And had a couple of people reach out and some questions, I think we've got some good energy there. Some good.
I don't think they've submitted yet, just yesterday.
No, I haven't.
Hopefully they'll submit.
Is.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I have a meeting scheduled, I think it's 17th maybe, so.
Okay, wonderful.
I'm done.
Forward to
I'm done now.
Mayor, I'm so sorry, I have one more item.
We're gonna go backwards here. Laura, you got anything you want to?
No.
Well, this one is actually really exciting and good news. So we had put in, there was a general appropriations bill with the feds and we put in for our decant facility. And we received word from Congressman Moore's office this morning that it looks like we're probably gonna get 800,000.
Wow.
So that was good news. I didn't even respond with a smiley face or anything.
Smile in real life.
Well, that's.
It's a good, no, it's not, yeah, it's not final, but it's in the bill right now. Larry is gonna kill me if you go there. Sorry, Larry.
So, just a quick update, I know you are all starting to know this about senior center. The senior center kind of went through a rocky phase here with their longtime director of 30 years, somehow suddenly retiring because of the cut in their hours and all of this big mess. And luckily, the mayor's daughter-in-law, Christy Call, is the interim director for a while. They have cut a ton of their, things that everybody loves. They don't have Thursday night dances anymore, and now they post center at 4 o'clock, just officially, and then just a lot of disarray. And so there's supposed to be some online communication because we contribute quite a bit of money to that senior center. And now it's all changed. And so just letting you know. They just really upset a lot of local seniors who are attending it all.
Yeah,
And it's a very, very huge senior center, like really, they're the director. I'll point it on him. I won't tell you his name in public, I guess, but he's not, there's something wrong with Reader Human Services. And he's kind of gone rogue and poor Zella and, cut her hours and put her to part-time, even though this is one of the most used senior centers that we have in town.
I'm sure that, how's that happen about the board being there?
The board has no say over that.
The board is a foundation that takes care of activities.
Yes, and allocates money just for that.
Runs the center, but yeah.
Well, there's talk about next year North Harbor taking over the entire cost of it, but I don't even know how they will do that. Because anyway, the Weaver Human Services, contracts the director and helps pay for the food that comes in. But they don't supplement any of the activities or any of that. That's where the donations and money from North Harbor, the city comes in, and our money comes in to help pay for the things like that. But just to let you know, make you aware, since we contribute, a chunk of money to that center every year, that things haven't just all of a sudden just blew up.
I think, and I said this, and every mayor has said this too, that our nation is these people, this is I mean, life, this is what they do. People that are using it and they depend on it. Made all the changes, all the mayors that first off, we tried to dump it in the cities like that. And I mentioned this before, but North Ogden is an example of how you should do it, because other cities aren't. Like,
Right.
so you guys should work together to help reduce the cost. But there are some other places that aren't open. Anyway, and I don't know, nobody knows.
We don't know what's gonna happen, but no, they're seniors. It's always packed. People go over there every single day. They have town buses, they have Blackberry, they have ceramics, they have everybody. Yeah, they have all of these things that they provide, but now Weaver Human Services comes in and says, well, guess what? We're gonna close down and wait for people. So the seniors, it really is. They count on it every single day. It's predictability. It's where their friends are. It's where they can meet people. So that's not it.
Some of them. At this city, we'll make them friends with this. It's like, it's tough in some aspects, because the other cities are like. But
It is.
we do work well with them, but they are still making major changes
I'm just here, we were more. So.
Anyway, just letting you know, because.
You hear it.
Yeah.
Hey. I don't have anything specific, but I just wanted to say I enjoyed working with you guys, it's a great team. We have a lot of problems to solve and stuff what's going on. We appreciate it. It's exciting. I'm so excited. It's like almost weekly, sometimes we get this. Yeah.
Already know
So
so.
that's just really exciting. It's a fun time to be here involved. I have Facebook yet, but,
Oh, it's blowing up. It's fun.
My daughter in law like, I don't.
I'm just like, "Somebody, are you serious? Yes.
Steve,
Can you, in 30 seconds or a minute, I know the Sabbath way, Marriott, I mean, I've seen a couple of those things on, so, what do we know about this planned community thing, or what?
Yeah,
Can you just, share? I mean, we'll come, coming on the 16th, but
I'll just give you a couple hours presentation real quick.
How do we convince?
I'm too
your-
busy. So,
no, I mean, I know that they own, a big chunk of that,
mhm.
we've got the route,
So we have the route in play, and they're actually looking at the possibility, and it's two different development groups of two master plan developed communities. Surrounding those, they include clustering and trail systems,
Open space.
open space. I think there's gonna be a lot of questions about the density and what they're gonna be doing, and I really appreciate their approach, because we've been meeting with them regularly with our housing committee. But instead of just coming through the process, they want to do this open house in order to get the feedback from the public before and to tweak and adjust based on the feedback they get. And so from there, they will pursue a general plan amendment and then,
so what is their timeframe? What are they looking at?
Yeah.
Are they, is this a 10-year plan?
I think they'd like to move on it as quickly as they can, but they understand it takes time.
yeah, also market.
They're ready.
And we for sure have a good road plan for that specific thing. That is final, because I've never seen the final plan.
We brought it to this group.
We do have it.
Yes,
Because I
yes.
thought that was the kind of the preferred plan or whatever, but we have nailed it down, so when that.
No, so we changed the, roads master plan. That was the name when the planning
Because
commission and you all.
because we were gonna
and-
do this, we're gonna have a stop, we're gonna have a roundabout, we're gonna have all. No.
No, Skyline Drive, yeah, no, it's absolute,
Because maybe I missed it, but I have not personally, I know we've had several different things, it was gonna come here, or go there, it's gonna, slope was gonna come down, we just didn't, but that is finalized.
It's the last one in the track.
it is,
That's the latest.
it is.
So.
And so that is the final.
And that's what it is the final,
That's what
and
they were-
that's what they're working on, and at the end of it, and there's more to come on this as well, but we have the rail crossing that hits at the end of that, and because of the way the rail crossing and the road that's required by UDOT intersect, we're looking at some prospective development in that area too, and are looking at a general plan amendment for possibly some owner occupied townhomes.
Steve, we don't have a master plan ordinance yet, that will have to come into play in order for this to work, and this is different than anything that you've ever seen. When you see this, it's way different than anybody's ever pushed us and said.
Well, and
This is how we want to go.
It'll be good to have one contractor or two maybe, the developer, developer.
I'm like, oh, I bet there's a lot of companies.
To be able to put something together instead of be piecemeal, and I think that's a
But when
great-
you see
great
it,
idea.
And so, and like,
Yeah.
they're addressing infrastructure concerns as well, because they're doing it in such a way that it's a big enough chunk that they.
What's gonna happen is what happened with water or something. will happen.
they're addressing water constraints, they're addressing sensitive plans constraints.
Yeah.
Like we said, better than piecemealing, because.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, I've seen it, I've seen some of the emails come through, but I didn't really fully understand the
Well,
Right.
another point that I'm excited about is like we're controlling it instead of the state telling us how to do it. Now, at least we're in the driver's seat on how we want it to work instead of the state ones.
This is probably a better opportunity to have, to develop a page, you know, put the road.
Well, that's because they will develop the road as they go.
Yes.
Should.
They have to, that's what we've done. I think. So that's
I
the thing.
think you'll be really come and ask them the questions so you can see what they were talking to them about. And I think you'll really, it's better than the others.
Who's actually getting the workshop?
So the development group, so they're gonna have some boards up and be answering kind of Q&A, and we're providing them a forum to do that, because again, you know, developers in the past, they've come through and some of them have even disregarded our general plan and just said, give me what I want, give me what I want, and they want to come and have conversations, they want to talk about what they're looking to do, they want to.
Very thoughtful. We've been very honest with them and told them exactly what they're up against and what it needs to look like, and even then, I'm like. So.
Sorry, one more thing, I apologize. I was talking to Tyson when you were talking about pickleball. I apologize, I was kind of ignoring you just to slip this in, but when's the date for the basic?
The 15th, I believe. The ring bus.
We got a council meeting on the 23rd still, or is that, was that?
So we currently have no items on that agenda because there was a lot of squishy discussion on it, and so it's, I guess if we need it, we can have it, but we don't have any agenda items right now.
Well,
I'm not.
We're gonna try and word that RFP, we like,
if I need to,
yeah, I mean, that's kind of why we wanted to do before that date, so we got 3 people there in minutes.
if we need to.
I can call.
All right. Yeah, we probably will want to award our.
As long as, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
As
falls
long
in
as, as long as.
our budget, the big question.
As long as it works.
Wait another month.
I knew it.
Okay. 5-7, closed meeting.
No surprises.
5-8, adjourned.
There, I don't believe.
Second.
Good job.